Why must you pay close attention to your triggers on the awakening journey? Now, for those of you that have been on the awakening journey for some time, you will know that this journey is not about perfection, but definitely about integration. And what you will see bubbling up to the surface as you move along this journey is those hidden, dark parts of yourself that you probably didn't even know existed, didn't know that they needed attention, but they actually bubble up so that you can really become aware of them and not quite analyze them, but just bring awareness to them so that you can actually alchemize that darkness into light. Now, with that being said, I wanted to create this video so that I can kind of guide you through what to really pay attention to when these triggers come up and actually how to heal. Now, it's important to understand that a trigger is not just an emotional reaction when you are on the awakening journey. It is actually trying to show you, consider it almost a message from your soul, letting you know what actually needs awareness and what needs to be healed. You see, sometimes we take a look at our reactions in certain situations, which might actually have a pattern to them, but we're just not ready to see it. But on the awakening journey, you are being asked to really come face to face with whatever it is that needs healing. And so when you are on the awakening journey, you need to shift your perspective on the triggers and your emotional reactions that truly come to surface because it's wanting your attention. And when this really happens, instead of, becoming angry with yourself, becoming frustrated with yourself, really take a look at what that trigger, that emotional reaction is tied to. Is it tied to an old story that needs to be let go of? Is it tied to some sort of an emotion that you feel for somebody else or for your own self? And really get down to the bottom of what it is that you are experiencing. And it is truly when you are ready to see it for what it is and bring awareness to it that it can be healed and it can be alchemized and released. And with that being said, as you do this on this journey, you become lighter, clearer, because you are finally allowing love and light to enter into those dark places. Now, just to give you some examples of what I mean by triggers and the emotional responses that you might experience that you want to pay attention to. Let's say that you're supposed to meet up with somebody and they show up a couple minutes late. And because they haven't shown up on the time that they promised, you totally go into feeling abandoned, feeling unworthy, feeling hurt, and end up having an emotional reaction to what you've just experienced. Now, you could be dealing with your twin flame and they say something to you over a conversation which makes you feel very defensive. Again, something like this could be a big trigger because what it's really trying to show you is that it's not something that's outside of you that is the issue, but something within your own self that actually needs healing. So that outside experience that you're having that is triggering you is just the message that you need to receive to look deeper within, because the problem is not external to you, but something that needs healing on the inside. And this is actually a part of your journey that leads you to that sense of self-mastery. As you overcome these challenges, these parts of you that need healing, you become closer and closer to, getting to that wholeness where you're able to balance the light and dark and integrate that within you. Now, what's key here is to understand that your trigger is not the actual problem. It is just the pathway to your actual healing. And so what we want to shift, which is different than how you were probably dealing with your triggers before your awakening to versus now, where you are on your journey and trying to heal from all of these parts of you that are coming up to the surface, is truly bringing awareness to the actual parts of you that need that healing. And so with that, we want to take these triggers and we want to take this emotional reaction that you might be experiencing and turn it into a moment of just reflection. And so really what you want to do when you experience this is just take a moment to really pause. When you feel that emotion bubbling up to the surface, whether it be anger, pain, hurt, jealousy, whatever that looks like for you in that moment, instead of flowing away with the actual feeling that you're experiencing, that emotion that you're experiencing, and playing the part that it wants you to, you want to just pause and really acknowledge what you're feeling. Take a deep breath and really look at what part of you is actually hurting. You can actually do a little exercise by just simply closing your eyes, and we call this body tracking, where you can actually visualize where this pain or emotion might actually be kind of suppressed and hidden within your body. Maybe you feel it in your heart, maybe you feel it in your stomach, maybe you feel it in your throat. And so really take a look at where you are experiencing this emotion in your body. And if you want, you can actually speak to it, or you can just feel where it is. Take, deeper breaths to actually release that pain, that emotion is to what you are experiencing. One of the biggest challenges that we go through, prior to an awakening, when we see such emotional reactions and responses, is we quickly project to what we are experiencing to the outside, placing blame on other people for what we're going through. If we're feeling hurt or anger, we say the other person made us feel that way, and not really focusing in on the inside. So what we want to be able to do now as you go through these triggers and these emotional reactions is really turn that back onto yourself to take a look at what might be causing this. And it's okay if we don't know the origin of where this started, how it came to be, but just bringing simple awareness to what you are experiencing so that we can actually heal from it. Just remember that your awakening journey is truly about self-mastery, which leads you to understanding your triggers, your emotional reactions, so that you can truly heal them. So your triggers are not the enemy, but they are acting as sacred guides to really let you know what parts of you truly still need that love and attention so it can be alchemized. And the more and more you do this with practice, the better you'll become. And ultimately, you'll know you've healed when those same triggers show up again, but are not followed by those old stories, those old responses that you used to repeat. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. God bless.